sports betting has never been more problematic. You have FanDuel, you have DraftKings, you've got betting casinos and online books that sponsor European, English Premier League soccer teams. It's on their jersey.
Right.
And so to keep the tentacles of gambling out of professional sports has never been more of a challenge. And along with a lot of the gambling comes a lot of the vice, right? I mean, it is, big shock the Gambinos are involved, right? Who knew that when sports betting became ubiquitous, that I could make a bet on what the Bengals are going to do on 3rd and short? Who knew that racketeering would rear its ugly head and that players would be influenced by it? I worry that it's the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. Currently, the regulation industry of sports books, and do you see this? I think it's law for if there is just some really abnormal action on something that the sports books are required to flag it. I don't know if that's a federal law or that's just their own rules. Like there's an example here in Cincinnati a few years ago where, it seemed like an obscure, Alabama baseball game. And it turned into someone from the University of Cincinnati put a ton of money on an Alabama baseball game. And then it flagged, I guess the sports book itself flagged it quickly. And that person ended up getting fired from the University of Cincinnati. And I don't know what happened on the Alabama side of things, but is that a federal law that already a regulation in place for these sports books that when they see something that's out of the ordinary, they are required, or is that just more of their own rules?
Good business practice.
Well, that's a good business practice, and that's a great question. And I don't know that I have the answer for you off the top of my head. What I can tell you is that who knew that you had to rely on the sports book industry to be the honest, upstanding, we're gonna come and blow the whistle on our own customers type. Again, I mean, one of the things that you have, and look, and you can go back, you can go back over a century, right? You had the Black Sox scandal.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Pete Rose betting on baseball. You've got the point shaving scandals from the 1980s in basketball. Gambling is a vice, and it will always be around. It's been around since the dawn of man. That prostitution, addiction, we're going to be combating it 1,000 years from now, right? So I think the best you can sort of do is to kind of hope to regulate it. Now, maybe you're able, to your point, maybe you're able to flag it a little more effectively. Maybe you use some AI tools that say, gosh, there's really a lot of action here on this insignificant women's softball game from Brigham Young University. I'm just pulling, I don't even know if they get a softball team, but you could,
sure.
you could just, you know what I'm saying? So that way you could sort of maybe trigger and flag it. Now, I don't know how the feds got their attention on Terry Rozier or Chauncey Billups. The two allegations are somewhat different. I don't know if you read about this or not. Chauncey Billups, that guy is inviting really big fish to his gambling to like a poker night, and they've got like James Bond equipment there. They've got like
X-ray glasses,
like the table, like an X-ray table, and they've got like a card dealer shooter thing that will here, skip, ace, skip, king, skip. So they're literally right. It is like that movie Honeymoon in Vegas. You remember with James Caan's character? You guys remember? You guys are from like the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah,
right?
I remember.
I grew up in the 80s. Yeah,
sure, I remember that movie.
But yeah.
Okay. I mean, the reason you watch is Sarah Jessica Parker. The reason you stay is for Nicolas Cage and the emotion and power he brought to that role.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. Of course.
Hey, man.
But yeah, so like he goes and sits down with the guy, right? And he's a card shark, and he gets whatever a flush, and basically says, well, okay, I'm going to take your fiance out for the weekend, and you don't have to pay me all this money. So it's kind of almost like that, except it was a little more loaded than just we're gonna lure you with card sharks. We're gonna just straight up cheat. So that's what Billups is caught for. Rozier, it's more of your traditional point shaving allegation. It's more my foot hurts. I need to sit down. I can't. I'm not going to be able to get my 12 points that I need to cover the FanDuel line. So that would be a little more direct if you can prove it.
And you're just your personal opinion on this. Jeremy Rosenthal is our guest. Jeremy, your personal opinion as far as Chauncey Billups goes. Somebody was suppositioning the other day that maybe he did something in a game for the mob a long time ago, and finally they come back and it's time to pay the piper.
When he was a player.
Yeah.
That is exactly why. And in Cincinnati, I don't need to tell folks this, because of Pete Rose. This is why baseball was so hyper vigilant about gambling, maybe too much, right? I'm not saying Pete Rose shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. I think enough is enough. I think that, you've got these guys on performance-enhancing drugs who you can make the same argument that they've got no business in the Hall.
Sure.
But yes, that's exactly how this happens, is you get some athletes who like to play as well, and then they get in over their head. Phil Mickelson has been very vocal about some of his gambling addiction problems. And so, yes, it's very easy when you owe somebody $3, $4, $5, $10 million, it's very easy for them to sort of lean on you and say, you're gonna shank your drive into the woods on the fourth hole. It's very easy for that to happen. And then it's an integrity issue to your sport.
All right. With that, Jeremy, it's always fascinating, buddy. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.